Okay, welcome everybody. Great to see so many people here, a lot of familiar names. So yeah, very exciting to have the team from ORATS here today who are going to go through some of their tools and show us what they can do. So welcome, Matt. We'll just check that we've got you here.
Yeah, I'm here. You hear me okay? Can you hear me?
Matt, I can't. Oh, sorry, I've got my volume down.
Can you hear me?
I can. Sorry. I had an issue with my headphone there.
Tyler's around somewhere. Could you see if you could make him a presenter?
Let me see if I can do that.
Tyler Sheaves.
Yep, I'm on here, Matt.
Oh, you are?
Me at the top. Yeah, it's just
You're
showing
in
me
his,
as your name.
You're in his Matt. There are two of us.
Okay, so I think you want me to make Tyler the presenter?
One of us.
Yeah.
You can keep Matt as the presenter, Gavin.
Yeah, I'll present.
Okay. All right. So just before we do that, just a quick disclaimer for everyone that everything discussed today is for educational purposes only, is general in nature, and does not take into account your personal circumstances. All right, so let me try and hand over to Matt. Apologies for some of the tech issues here, but hopefully we'll get there.
I'm the host.
All right, and we are recording as well, so we'll get the replay out to everyone as well. But I'll leave you to it, Matt. So excited to see what you're going to show us.
Could I share here? All right. Can you?
Looks good.
All right. And I'm happy to be on video if you know how to do that, Gavin. But either way, I took a shower and did my hair for this. So
let me see. I may have turned it off in the settings. It's pretty early in the morning.
Okay. Oh, there I am.
Oh, there we go. All right.
All right.
Cool.
Hi, everybody. All right. Hopefully you can all see my screen. Again, thanks for Gavin, and thanks for everyone for showing up. My name is Matt Amberson. Just a little personal on me. I grew up in California, went to Chicago for graduate school at Kellogg, and then went to the floor of the SIBO and traded successfully there, backed traders, and then got married, stopped trading, and wound up ORATS. Geez, about 20 years ago now. So we became known for our back testing, and then we hired people like Tyler and helped design the platform that you're going to see today. And the big news is that this month we're going with live data. So before you had to go through Tradier to get live data, now we stepped up and purchased it, and so everyone could get live data. And then we have a link that we could share for people to get 50% off to get this, what we call our dashboard product here. We also have other things on that link, like APIs if you're more quantitative or whatnot. Everything going okay so far? Could everyone hear me? And everyone good so far?
Yeah, seems good. Seems good to me, Matt. Yep.
All right,
cool. I just shared that link in the chat with everybody. The link to the 50% discount for the trading tools.
All right, cool. Yeah, and then maybe we'll share it again at the end. Yeah, and then some people have reached out to me directly, which is great as well. So yeah, what we want to do is talk about, just in general today. We'll talk about our dashboard product. It's built on top of our API. So our APIs are delayed and live, intraday. We have intraday historical going back to August 2020, and then we have back testing going back to 2007, and then a bunch of API endpoints. But today we're going to talk mostly about what this product is built on top of these APIs, but we're going to talk more about just our dashboard product. And specifically, we'll talk about managing positions, back testing, and these are trade ideas. We're going to talk about overall market intelligence, we call it, but that's like when are earnings coming out? What are the macro calendar saying about what's coming up? And then systematic strategies is in development. And then outlook, we'll show a little bit about outlook and how we look at the overall market and why we actually were a little we saw some warning signs early for this debacle that happened today. How long do we have, Gavin? Why don't you just let me know?
Yeah, budgeted about an hour, so
That's perfect.
yeah.
Earnings and news. We talk about we have historic earnings, and then trade builders are charting, options chain. We have, you can see trade, a history of a trade, time and sale. So we're going to go over all these. And, you know, the big thing is that with positions, we can bring in positions from Interactive Brokers, from TradeStation, and from Tradier. So you just connect your positions and they come in. And we also have a paper trading account. So this is our paper trader. Did some trades today, some filled orders, and then we'll be putting trades in here. But basically, the way the positions work is these are the trades that I have previously done. I can minimize all these and just see, you know, how things are going today. I made $227 in SPY. I'm short a little bit, and I could see that it was a long put diagonal that, you know, very long term out of the money put, and a shorter term out of the money put. So this is kind of one of my favorite ways to kind of have a short position without costing a lot of money. I put on the original trade. I paid $9.63 for the March way out of the money put, which it now has 200 days ago. This was done, you know, some time ago. But the neat thing was that the SEP was $4, so that decays, and then you know, now that's worth $1.41, and you know, so that's a nice looking way to have some short deltas on that does well in these types of markets, but that doesn't decay a bunch because a lot of the theta, and we have theta in this, we have theta in our front end as well. And so, you know, so these are, you know, kind of the big things of the positions. Tyler, do you want to add anything to the kind of the positions tab here?
Yeah, one thing I would say is important for ORATS is the exit alerts tab. You can set up exit alerts really easily with each of your positions. And that's something I like to use a lot.
Yeah, that's a good point. So an exit alert might be, all right, so this is $9. Please tell me when my profit has gone, you know, it has doubled, for example. I could say is above 200%, and I could write a note, you know, on the IQ to show. So that's, and then you could see, you know, that you know, that is that's an exit alert that would go in, you know, to our alert system here. So that's a nice thing. Anything else, Tyler?
Not for the positions. I think we can move on to, you know, finding trades. Well, one of the great things about ORATS is the scanning capabilities. We have very robust stock and option scanners, which we'll go over.
Yeah, and backtesting, and this trade ideas tab blends the scanning, because this is using our scanner and a backtester. So what you're seeing here are highly rated backtests and their trades, and you could sort these on many different things. I like to sort sometimes on like the Sharpe ratio of the backtest. So, you know, you could view the backtest. So here's a GLD iron condor. So I could then, you know, take a look at the backtest of this GLD iron condor, and you know, we have 181 million tests back there. So this only trades when the stock price is above the 50-day SMA and the slope percentage is high. we have exit triggers. So we put on, it's a long-term trade, so it's 222 days. Our deltas are such, and it will alert, or you'll want to alert yourself at positive 25 or negative 25. So you'll get in or out based on that. And if you wanted to then look at some more performance metrics like the initial margin return, drawdowns, win rates, and all that. So, we're big on back testing at ORATS. Monthly returns, you can see that sometime many months don't have any trades, and that's because the stock price didn't meet this. And the slope is the put call slope. It's you could look that up on our site. By the way, at orats.com, Otto is our, you could ask him about slope percentile, and Otto will explain all that. Not to get into too much detail, but if you then scan for options based on that, it will set the minimum and maximum. And then this is now, let's take a look at our option scanner. And let's, Tyler, yeah.
Can we go back to the backtester real quick and just make sure we go over that kind of at a glance? Because in most other backtesters that I've seen, you have to set up the backtest first and then run it. And then it takes a while. The unique thing about our backtest finders, we call it,
right,
is that we've already ran over 180 million options backtests. And we put these in a table for you guys to filter on and sort on. And that's where the trade ideas is picking from. Those 180 million backtests that we've ran across over 100 different symbols and different strategies for each symbol. We've varied the days to expiration and strike deltas, and you can browse all these backtests in this one table.
And then for those of you that are to just say, show me the final answer. The final answer are the trade ideas. But this, as Tyler mentioned, this is our big database of backtests, and we have 100 symbols. We have a bunch of the most popular strategies, and then you could rank all these based on like I said, Sharpe ratio or daily P&L or whatnot. So we're in SPY right now, Iron Condor. The best one is this. This iron, we test on entry triggers, how much you're getting. We could spend an hour on just the backtester, but I just want to give you guys just a quick overview. So right now the VIX is in a moderate. The SMA is still above the 50-day and above the 200-day, at least when this was last run. The RSI is moderate, and the IV is high, and the slope percentile, the slope went high, and we could check that out a bit right now. So you could set this only to look at the current entry triggers. Like, so for example, this is not a current one. So if you ran this, it wouldn't, this is not the right environment. The right environment is IV percentile is now high. So what we do is we then run all those and then put those in the trade ideas. And that's like, the trade ideas are a quick way to find the top trades with all of our symbols and the ones that match the current environment. So, and we kind of talk about it up here. And I should also say, just while we're in the backtester, that the old school legacy backtester, if you're really into running your own, that's where this is where you would go for that. You'd go to the legacy backtester, and you could input quite a few things. And I have I've run tens of thousands of tests. Like some of my favorite tests, I just write notes. This is my favorite put to have. This is my favorite VIX 1x2. This is my favorite short put spread. And we show the annual return and the Sharpe, and so on. So these are like kind of all my favorites here. And you could create a new back test. You could put in any symbol. You could even paste in entry and exit dates. All the strategies are here. You could put different days to expiration, and then a bunch of different parameters, including spread yield, how much you want to pay it as a percent of stock price, and then the exit alerts, a lot of the things that we talked about a little bit earlier that our exit has, but these these will get out if your profit and loss is a certain amount or whatever. So yeah, so this is yeah, we don't have 0 DTEs yet, although you can backtest on the day before or the last 15 minutes, because we take a snapshot every day 15 minutes before, or 14 minutes I should say, before the close, and then you know, you could hold them to expiration that day or the next day to expiration. So this is our this is our legacy backtester, and again, you could go see a lot more videos. Our YouTube channel is quite expansive, and we have a bunch over there. So check it out. Check out our backtester if you guys are into that. And you know, the trade ideas are tied in there. Anything else on backtesting, Tyler, or finders, or before I go to the market intelligence?
Yeah, I just want to mention for those interested in the 0 DTE backtesting, our front end is currently limited to end of day backtesting, both in the Finder and in the custom backtester. But what you can do if you wanted to do a more manual approach, we do have 1 minute intraday options chain history available in both the API and the front end in the trade history tab. So those are both available in separate subscriptions. So the API that Matt's showing right now is part of the API subscription, the intraday API, and then the trade history tab, which is on the left, is available as part of the trading tools package, which has all these other tools in it. So I don't know if you want to show the trade history right now, Matt.
Yeah, I don't think it applies so much to a backtest as it will to analyzing positions. So I'll show it then.
Okay.
All right, so let's go to the market intelligence. We're just going to kind of straight down the list here. Market intelligence is a good place to go to see what's going on in the market. I like to go there, like what's going on post-market right now. You know, GitLab is up 15%. Post-market, Zscaler is down 14%. And then in bold, we have the bigger names. NVIDIA is down another almost 2% post after being down almost 10% today. And, you know, so Apple is down a little bit post. And then unusual volume for the day. TAP, those of you who drink Coors Light, they traded 30 times what they usually trade, and it was up today. So let's take a look. Let's just take a look at that. So if you click on that, go to earnings and news. You could see the news. Strong momentum stock. That's August 30th. So today, acquisition of craft brew. So it looks like there's some acquisitions of craft brewery stuff. So that looks like kind of what was going on in TAP. One of the neat things I like to do when there's a stock that, you know, that moves a fair amount and there's a lot of trading going on, I like to see this is our time and sales, and the graphic's really cool. So these green triangles are buys of deltas. So like, and then this big red one is a sell, so that someone sold kind of up here. They sold a short call, but like this big green triangle is this long call, 3,500 of them trade, and you could kind of look at traded at 1134, which is right before it kind of jumped up. So that's some interesting trading going on there. And then you could look at even yesterday, see if there's anything of note. Well, I guess yesterday was a holiday, so it would be the 30th. So you could go back, and it looks like, you know, no one really knew much about what was going on. They were overall short delta and overall short options premium. Anything else in the time and sales before I move on?
I think that covers the time and sales pretty well.
All right, cool. All right, so that's that's a good way to see unusual volume tap. And you now know the reason it kind of moved. So I think that's a really neat way to get on top of it. Earnings and dividends, so we could see what's coming out earnings wise. We have Riley up there. This is a stock that it's not confirmed yet, so we don't really know exactly when that is. But the earnings season's winding down, so there's only a few. This week coming up, Dollar Tree, Thursday, AVGO, and some others. And we do pretty big analysis on earnings, so I'll get into that right now. I think it's appropriate time. So I went there for TAP, but like AVGO, I could go to as well. So this is so Broadcom. So what this shows is the history of the last 12 earnings moves and the earnings implied earnings move. So for example, way back in September of 2021, the Broadcom was implied to move 3%. So that's over here. So the average implied move over the last 12 is 5.2. The average actual move is 4.7. So this kind of tracks that whole growth and expansion and contraction of the implied moves, and then the actual moves up here. So for example, in June, they were expecting a 6.1% move. It actually moved 12.3%. So that's why the green dot is way above here. And that's the main thing that we look at for earnings. Anything else on the earnings tab, Tyler?
No, that's it for earnings.
All right, cool. The largest trades kind of looks a lot like the time and sales, but this is for everything. So this is really cool. You could, the largest absolute trade, like the premium, it was a long call spread. It traded 28,000 times a KRA. That's pretty. If you click on it, you can see what the actual trade looked like. And that's a big trade to go up in KRE. KRE. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And then the other calls, the big calls that went up. And this was a 41. I'm sorting on the trade amount. You could also do dollar delta, edge, number of contracts, EEM. That always trades a lot. So this is a neat thing to see what's trading a lot of contracts. And then you go to the time and sales. You could go and look at how the trade looks in the trade builder as well. Anything else in the largest trades, Tyler?
No, I think it's really cool to see though, and this is another time where you could show the trade history, because you can clearly see that when that trade was made, and it's actually really neat to look. You can actually see the volume bar spike most of the time.
Right. So this is, now we're looking at the trade history tab, and so you could see that big trade is right here, and you could see what happened to that price of that put, or is it a put? Yeah, that put after that traded, it went up quite a bit. So someone bought, there's the 82,000. If you could see the volume. Let me actually, I'll turn on my drawing tool right now. So you can see the volume here. Yeah. So so here's the volume, and then there's this is the one candle. So you could see that history, and you could do this. You could go back in time, and you could change the expirations or the strikes or whatever. I looked at it today. I just wanted to see where a particular put spread that I had traded, and then I wanted to kind of offer my put spread right below the highest, the high. So those are some things that you could do with this trade history. It's pretty cool. It's every minute, and you could see you could graph stock on it. You could graph various other studies on their deltas, gammas, size, implied volatility. I like to look at what implied was. So after that the implied kind of kicked up. So it looked like a buy there. Anything else on that, Tyler?
No, let's move on to the macro calendar.
Yeah, so that was EEM long put. So we thought it was a buy, and it did look like a buy, especially in that trade history. All right, yeah, the macro calendar is really neat. So we put stars by the importance of a lot of these, all of the big macro things that coming out. So if we go kind of just look at the PMI, so this is today's, and then we show an actual where we have it and what the forecast was, and you could see like tomorrow there's a few in the morning. Thursday it looks like there's a lot. Friday morning there's a big one. So we could scroll down to Friday morning and see that non-farm payrolls are coming out, and that's been a bigger indicator that people are looking at. So I think, like I said, I think that's interesting. And then the week after it looks pretty light, which is, I think, important to look at. All right, so I'll just move on. This is the ETFs, what's going on in the ETFs. This is post-market mover, so that this is nice. And then we highlight the Qs, SPYs, IWM. Looks like IWM's unched. SPY's down another 0.1. Qs are down 0.17. IYR, the real estate's actually up after hours. XBI is the one that's down. So it gives you a brief look at what's going on post-market, and when we start trading, then it goes the current market. So that's a neat way to get up on what's going on in the market. So that's kind of our overall. That's the page you go to see what's going on in the market. Anything else on that, Tyler?
Yeah, I think that's a great overview of what's going on in the entire market. It's a great starting point to find trades. Really, ORATS, this dashboard platform, is designed to help you find and make trades and make smarter trades. The market intelligence is just one place to start off. There are other places to start off your analysis, like the Outlook tab, and the scanners as well. So we'll get into those.
Yeah. So the Outlook tab, I think, I think it's a really neat place to kind of get a look at where volatility is and get some feeling about, where the market might go. I think we put the Outlook tab together to be some of the best indicators of where we think that we could predict some price movement. So the first one is implied volatility itself. Implied volatility is a contra indicator of stock prices. As many of you know, when the stock price is going up, IV is usually low and staying there, and then when prices start to come down, that's when volatility rises. You wonder, well, is it trailing or is it not? That's another thing to think about or look at. But it started to get a little frothy here a couple days ago, and so this is implied volatility, and of course today it spiked up. So how high it's going to go? You'd probably look for a peak before you'd think that this kind of micro crash is over. Other things that I really love to look at is the implied volatility of the SPY divided by the implied volatility of its components. So the average implied volatility of like Apple and Microsoft, you average all those together, and then you have the SPY implied volatility divided by those. So usually SPY runs about 50%, but when it spikes, now this is definitely a negative, is a contrarian. So when this spikes, that is like that relationship, it's kind of saying correlation is going to 1. So if there was no benefit of diversification, this would be the average SPY would be equal to about the components. But since we have the benefits of diversification, you have, usually when the SPY is low compared to the components, that's good for the market. So you could see like on this large run up that happened here, this large run up right here was, coincidental with this falling implied volatility. But you could see here that all of a sudden this relationship started before before really the market turned down. So this was a good, so this is why I like this indicator. This kind of starts to heat up before market moves. So now it's heading up. So this is not going to be good for the market. So this is, like I said, spot, and we have this for IWM, we have this for the Qs, we have this for the diamonds. So and actually every stock, you can see its relationship to the its best ETF component. All right, I'm gonna move on. Contango is one of my other favorites. Contango means Contango is the state of the calendar of implied volatilities where the front months are below the back months, and that's it. The market is usually in Contango, and when it's not, when the front month is above the back month, that's usually not so good for the market. So again, this is more of a positively correlated indicator. So when the market started going down, Contango went negative. So when Contango is negative, it's usually, like I said before, the front months are below the back months, but when it goes negative, the front months become above it, or it's also called backwardation. So then the opposite happened when Contango started going higher, and so here's the positive line here. So when Contango's up here, that's usually good for the market in an uptrend, and then when it's coming down like it is now, that's not good for the market. So let me see if there's any chats. Bad things happen when backwardation. Yep, it's one of my favorite sayings. I agree with that. Do you have any data on graphs in the IV term structure? Do you have any data or graphs on the IV term structure?
Yeah, I think
you just
I think
covered
you were
it.
just showing that.
Okay. Yeah. So it's not only this, so this is, this is the term structure, and when we get to the trade builder, we'll look at it there. And then one of my favorite is slope, is the put call slope, is really neat as well. So the slope, so that is, I'll do a graph of that as well. So if IV is here, and if the low strikes are, so the low strikes are here and the high strikes are over here, usually there is a smirk, and we call this the slope. So, and I know it's negative, but we call it's a positive slope. And so most of the time, this slope, it was about 5%. And one of the things that I've talked about and been quoted on is that ever since zero DTEs came out, the slope has been shallower. We can talk about that probably some other time, but this is that slope. And so, in the options chain, let's just go to the options chain real quick, because we could see this is that smile right here. You could see that slope is, what that slope looks like, and you could see it for all different tenors or different expirations. One of the most difficult things that I've done as a market technician is, I'll click on this, is to draw this orange line. And we have, this is done formulaically, and it's very difficult to get this level of precision. And with that orange line, we come up with theoretical values for each, I'm just looking at this one. So this is the 533 in NOVE. The market's 920 bid at 927. Our SMV, or our smooth market value, is 924. So we're between the market over 95% of the time. So that's like I said, that's a real difficult feat to do. So we draw and describe this volatility smirk, and we show it over time as well. And we'll show that in the trade builder, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, so this trade builder is the most popular tab in ORATS by our stats. And so what it's showing is sort of on the left side is a stock stock price chart. And on the right side, it's overlaying a 2D representation of the options chain. So you can see at a glance the expirations and the open interest and the volume, and you can sort of pair them with the with a trade.
I have to get my dog out. She's
Okay. I'll just talk about the trade builder a little bit more here. So you can overlay trend lines, break evens, earnings dates, and then percent IV ranges. And it's a really neat way of looking at sort of the stock as a whole and make an options trade with all that information combined. So it's a great charting tool for both the chain and the stock price.
right. All right. So yeah, so this is the let me just get that trade out of there. So let's take a look at, where were we? Outlook. So yeah, we just finished up with the Outlook. And yeah, so let's take a look. And we've looked at the earnings, we looked at trade builder, the options chain, we've looked at that. The trade history, we've looked at that. Time and sales, check. Backtester. Okay, so should we go on to the option scanner, Tyler?
Yes, one of my favorite tools. It really brings everything together. It's really easy to use. I use this to make trades all the time. It's really quick to use. I'll let you go over how to use it, Matt.
Okay, so if you clear out all the settings, you start with adding symbols. So you could add symbols, or you could do a stock scan to get symbols. But in this, we'll just put SPY, and then which strategy. So if you just want a simple short put spread or something like that, you could do that. You do want 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 year. You could put that in, or you could type in your min and max days. You could put in your deltas. Do you want them more out of the money? So this is 20, this is way out of the money put spread. You could do things like set up the spread divided by stock rule. So you could filter based on the option price divided by the stock price. You could set min maxes on spread prices, deltas, how wide the market is, a number of things. Obviously, SPY doesn't have earnings, but you could, for other lists, you could filter out earnings or upcoming dividends. So, and then once you start to get results down here, you could even filter those or make min maxes. So this is definitely my favorite thing to do, is to say, well, how are these put spreads looking, and I want to filter down, and I want to rank these as well. So so let's just go over what these are. So this is the 540. You're selling 540 with stock 551, buying the 535, $5 wide, selling it for 48 cents. There's a distribution theoretical value, and what that is the expected return of the valuation of the spread at expiration times the distribution probability. So for example, the green are the places that you make money, the red is the places that you lose money and how much you lose. And then you do an expected return calculation, multiplying you could barely see in the distribution, the occurrence percentage of the time there. So there's 13.8 and 14.5. You multiply that by how much you made at that time, add all these together, and you get the distribution. So we have that worth in the distribution of 54 cents. So you might say, well, why would you sell it for 48 if you think this is 54 cents? And again, this is just one method of getting what we call a theoretical value. So this is one method for a theoretical value of this particular put spread. That's D percentage. And again, you could find out a lot more about this on our university, and you could go to university right here. And the F is our forecast. So we make a forecast of the next 20 days of volatility. We make a forecast of the infinite volatility. We make a forecast of the slope. If there are any earnings, we make a forecast of that. And we get a forecast with all those together. We have a forecasted volatility surface. And from that, we calculate theoretical values. And from that, we get this edge, positive or negative edge right now. For this particular trade. The smooth edge is going to be very close because that's just that drawn. We talked about that earlier, how we draw that skew through the implied volatilities for a particular month. I just want to see, theoretical values.
I think what this option scanner is really good at doing is, there are thousands of trades possible. You can just say, I want a short put spread on SPY. You got to narrow down, thousands of possible combinations. And this helps you do that by ranking what's important to you in the trade. So you can rank on probability of profit, risk reward ratio, delta cost, or any of the 3 ORATS theoretical values. And you can adjust the weightings of each of these, and this will change which one is shown to you. Right. Obviously,
so now I'm dragging that, and you can see that it's maybe you can see it, but we're changing how it's sorted. So if I want forecast or if I want S, so S, often what I'll do as well is I'll say I don't want to see something that's too far off of the S percentage, because if the market's really wide, like let's look at this one. This one has a large S percentage, and let's see if we can figure out why. As a matter of fact, one of the cool things is once you get a trade in the trade analyzer here, you could go to the options chain, and you could get a lot more detail. And then it'll also show you, I don't know if you saw that, but like it'll also show you where the buy and where the sell is in the chain itself. So that's kind of really cool. So here is the two different parts of the spread. And basically what this is saying is that this particular option, the 540, is lower than it should be. So I wonder if we could see that. Barely, you could see it below the line there. So that what I would say is that might be a difficult one to get filled on, because the fact that it's below the line, the market makers usually know that as well. So I would think that so that's the reason there's a large SMV, is because there's edge. There's probably too much edge in that particular one. It'd be nice if you got filled there, especially according to our SMV. But what I found is often if there's too much edge, it's often a wide market, and you're just not going to get filled usually. Hopefully that makes sense to people. So, and then another really cool thing about this is like on a lot of my scans, like, so I have a whole list of scans. I have 137 scans, and I go through these, like, I know today I want to do, like, before I was doing, this kind of out of the money calendars or whatever. So I could just go and do my long put calendar, and I could click on it and have it saved in it, and it comes up quickly. So I know where to find that. I know I could save it. And then what I do is the reason I'm kind of showing you this is because I will set things like I need a reward to risk of at least 3.2. So like if that wasn't there, we probably see some smaller reward to risks in the scan. So there's only 45. So that needs to be 3.2 or higher. I need a probability of profit of at least 30. So in addition to like setting these ranks, you could set min maxes for these. What's your max loss? I don't have anything of that right now, but you could set that max loss. You could set theta levels, open interest levels, really nice to set. My market width, I only want 0.22%, so that fits pretty well. The price, I don't want to pay more than 2%. So I find this, like, once you start using it, and the scanner is so powerful, and it really allows you to go find the trades that you want for a particular leaning that you have really quickly, and you could then drill down to the, like, so what will happen is you'll have a list of, that's only showing 45, but you might have 500 trades that match all your criteria. And then if you click on one, you could go, obviously I don't want to do that, and if you know why you don't want to do it, you could often filter it out, and so the next ones that you see will have those bad ones filtered out. So anything else on the scanner? Obviously, if you click on this, you can go trade this. For example, I could trade. I could send this trade. I could to paper trading. Again, so here's how you do a trade. So I'm going to pay $8.25. I'll pay a little bit. I always look at this number. I have the mid price is $8.17. The smooth price is $8.18. So I'll usually give them a few pennies depending on how far out it is. And then what I'll do is I will, I will review this order, and then I could send it to the market. Like, I could force it to trade at a particular level, or if you're during the day, you could wait, and if it comes in, you could have it trade at, see if it trades, if it crosses or gets close. So I filled on that calendar, and then you could see that I have some alerts on some of these trades over here. So you could get alerted by text message or whatnot. Anything else on the scanner before I go to the stock scanner?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, someone asked about choosing a stock scan, and that's a great lead into the stock scanner. I mean, in that add symbols section where you can say choose a stock scan, that's where you can import the results of a stock scan, which is equally as powerful as the option scanner. So instead of going, from a specific symbol, we can go back and scan the whole market with all of our ORATS indicators.
Yeah, so why don't we do that? Jeff asked about futures. Futures are just difficult in the fact that it's really expensive, and it's difficult to work with the CME. But we're open to it if we could get a good deal on if this goes smooth. We're moving to live data. That's the first thing. So we'll see about futures. We got asked about it. What would you say? Weekly, every other day or something?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the stock scanner. So the stock scanner is really cool, I think, too. And so you can start with all symbols. You can start with just, these are all like the components of the NDX, the components of XLF, all these. You could start with those if you want. We'll start with all symbols, or you could paste your own list in there. So if you have a list of symbols, you could then, like, some people will just paste in a list and they could see all of the criteria that they want to see. So our stock scanner is different from others in the sense that we have a lot of option information in here: historical volatility, earnings, dividends, forecast, skew, etc. And you could create your own custom indicators as well, which is nice.
Yeah. So once you sort of, you can use this to actually, Matt, I think it'd be a good idea to go to the templates and just show some of the use cases that we've created. These are from, we get feedback from our community on what people want. And these are very common stock scans people do to find, fairly valued earnings stocks, find, low implied volatility stocks.
Yeah, so it's picking out Oracle. Oracle is, I'm looking for, very liquid. So the stock scanner, one of the things I like to do is I just want a good basic earnings list to come through, and then I do an option scan on it. So so the two liquid, so when I say liquid, it has to have at least 1,000 option volume, and earnings coming out in a regular earnings move, not too big, not too small, and volatility kind of between 10 and 100. So these are just what I would call just, run-of-the-mill liquid earnings stocks coming in. And then what you could do is we don't have time to go through all these, but like, there are things like PE ratios and shares short, analyst ratings. You could go price, what is the min and max stock price? This has to be above 20. Volume, like I said, has to be over 1,000. You could change the min on the custom is 1,000. There's no max. What the IV is, again, it's between 10. The IV 30 at the 30-day is between 10 and 100. What the historical volatility is, you can make ratios between historical and implied, or what you can make your own. So this, it's nice to do these ratios, like the implied earnings move, divided by the absolute earnings move or something. You could show, and we could display that.
I think it's important to go over the templates too, because this can be daunting. All these hundreds of indicators, right? It'll take some time to learn them, but I'd recommend for anybody starting to use ORATS to just start with the templates in the stock scanner. We also have templates in the option scanner, and you can just click on these and it'll pre-fill in all those indicators and their values for you. So it's a great place to start if you're looking to make trades.
Right. So, and then just back to that earnings one. So then once you get your template and you name your scan, so you save these scans, then you could go to the option scanner, and then, I'll just clear all these settings. You could bring in that earnings list and, do a, I don't know, iron condor, whatever. 1 week iron condor. So, these are, these are ways to utilize the stock scanner with the option scanner. And I think with that, let me see if I have any ones, cheap diagonals. So here's one of my cheap long calendars that I look for. And then it finds, calendars that I'd kind of like to do. So it brings in all these stocks that meet the criteria that we're looking for.
Yeah.
And I think with that, we've covered everything.
You want to go over the backtester just a little bit more? I mean, it's probably one of the most popular tools. People come to ORATS for the backtester. They hear about us, the backtesting.
Yeah, definitely. We talked about gold at the top of that show in our trade ideas, so we could take a look at gold and see how this would work. So this is the best iron condor in gold. What criteria to use in your cheap iron calendars? I'll look at that right after. I just quickly go over this. So if you're looking for a good iron condor in gold, you probably want entry triggers to max what's going on right now. So if I press this button, it will only find the entry triggers that match one or more of these current environments of gold right now. So it take a little bit while, but then this might be a good trade for it. And then you could go, with this, it's really neat because you could look at how it performed over the last 5 years, during bear markets, during bull markets, all these different times. And there's a worst annual return, best annual return, and you can do min maxes on all these. So it's a really neat, powerful database to find a lot of backtests that we've already run in here. And then quickly, someone was interested in knowing how I found my cheap long calendars. So again, I think it's mostly just, and I'll try to find this one. My scans, cheap long calendars. So, you know, basically I just want volatility implied of the 10-day. The contango, I want that really high. So I'm selling contango basically with this. I want weeks to next earnings, not for a while. I want option volume at least 500, and then I'll start to look for calendars based on that. But it's mostly just contango. And as we talked about before, you know, contango. Let's see if we could see it. Let's look at Palantir in the outlook. So Palantir's contango is really low. So, you know, so it's -2. So what that means is you're selling very high and you're buying low. You know, so you're buying kind of 50, you could sell 60. So that's how I look at the cheap calendar. So hopefully that helped. But we're bumping up against our allotted hour. That went pretty fast, actually. So Tyler, would you paste that link in again, where people could go if they want to sign up for a reduced fee, half off there, and yeah, I hope that you check it out and take we've made a very powerful system, and hopefully we've made it where it could match one of your brokers, and you could start to bring in your own positions and help get a better look at your positions, and then start to get some trade ideas going, develop some strategies, do a lot of back testing, and figure out what type of back tests work for you. Someone asked if there's a lot going on there. We do offer some consulting here and there that you could sign up for. But generally we try to put most of our stuff in our university, which is right here, or on our website, where, like I said, on our blogs we do quite a bit. The reduced fee it's going to be there for you for as long as we have this relationship. You're welcome. Gavin, that's about all I got for this. It's night here in New Hampshire. I'm in New Hampshire. Someone asked that earlier.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I really appreciate it. I know it's evening for you, so yeah, that was mind-boggling, but really good. And I'm just noticing how many apps you have on your taskbar there. So you're clearly a very busy man. So I appreciate you taking the time to present to us today. It's much appreciated.
Yeah,
and to Tyler as well.
I always get stressed out when there's a bunch of numbers down here and alerts and when someone's presenting, but hopefully I try to get at someone's. This is our online chat, so I try not to stress anyone out on the call. Hopefully you guys had a meaningful presentation. Feel free to reach out to us at support@orats.com. I'll just put that in there. And yeah, we get back hopefully pretty quick on that. Yeah, thanks everybody. That's some really nice feedback. Appreciate that.
All right, excellent. Thanks again, Matt and Tyler. I'll get the recording out if anyone wants to go through any particular sections that Matt covered. If you want to go through that again, there'll be a replay available. And yeah, just reach out to the support guys if you have any questions or need any help. And hopefully you like the software, and we appreciate the offer of the 50% discount available to all my followers. So yeah, really appreciate that as well, Matt and Tyler.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for the opportunity, you guys.
Awesome.
Thanks, Kevin.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.